going to work on an exercise called rolling the ball. It's a Tai Chi exercise that looks like this. And the point of this exercise is to start to let the mind move at the speed of the body. See, a lot of Tai Chi is based on this principle, that if your mind is moving really quickly and your body's at a slower rate down here, what tends to happen is the mind starts to pull the body up to this faster speed. But when it's too fast and you're constantly racing around like that, you start to get burnt out because the body can't keep up with the racing mind. And you feel it in your nerves, right? You feel exhausted all the time, you feel stressed, you feel tired and burnt out. The method in Tai Chi for replenishing the nerves and refreshing the body is to get the mind to slow down to the speed of the body, and then to get them both to move smoothly together. You do this by developing your feeling awareness, and that's what this exercise is designed to do. So we're going to, what we say, put the mind inside the body in a slow, smooth way. And that's what's going to be restorative about this practice. So to start out, what you should do is put one hand in the center of the chest and one hand at the height of the navel. And I want you to watch the arm shape for a second, right? It's not closed down like this. You expand the arms, open the back of the body to create this round shape all the way through. So you've got the roundness here, and then you're going to take the top hand and roll it around the back of the ball as you turn to that side. So rolling the back hand around, feeling the other hand come up the front. Turn and roll from side to side. You should focus on the connection between the hands and keeping them kind of constantly molding around the ball. Right? If you can't quite feel the hands connect, do this for a second. Rub your hands together. And then let them separate out. And just for a second, from the center of each palm, see if you can make a connection. You might feel it kind of magnetize the hands, or you might feel this kind of like taffy, like pulling between the hands. Whatever you can do with your mind to track the two palms at the same time, right? See if you can make that link, and then roll the ball from there. Now to really get the circle to smooth out and slow down, you need to think a little bit more beyond the hands. In fact, you want the circle to feel like it could come from the elbows, from the shoulders, from the shoulder blades, and then ultimately from the turning of the hips and the waist. So if you think about, if you start to generate the circle from the elbow, right, it's this constant rolling of the elbow forward and back that moves the hand around the sphere, or from the shoulder blade, right, you really loosen the two shoulder blades as you do this. And then finally, the way you turn the hips, almost starts to feel like this kind of whip-like feeling. If the hands are just being moved at the end of the whip, and the handle of the whip, the beginning of that turn comes from the hips. So this is something you'll practice over time. Turn from the shoulder blades, from the elbows, and from the hips, even though your sensitivity, your awareness stays to some degree on keeping the hands connected and moving over the shape of this ball. Now the last thing to mention here is the breathing. There's no specific, because this is a big sphere, there's no point where you have to do inhale and then exhale. But what you should notice at the beginning is whether you find any place where you're holding the breath. If you hold your breath, you'll freeze the movements, and there'll be a little glitch point, a little freeze point somewhere along that sphere. So when you're tracking your breath, you actually want to use the breath as feedback. If your breath starts to get smoother and starts to feel more even, then you know your movements are getting smoother and more even. If the breath is holding, Look for the glitches in the movement. Maybe your shoulder gets stuck somewhere. And the smoother you can roll the shoulder, the smoother you'll make your breathing transition from inhale to exhale. So the breathing is a feedback loop in this practice. It's not something you force into a specific pattern. So that's rolling the ball. You can use it to slow the mind down, tune into the body, and smooth out your nervous system.